Rosato on the rosé. I hope everybody liked this wine. It's a classic rosé that's actually more a red wine than a Rosato. This is 2009. Most Rosatos, most rosés in 2011 at this point always start to get tired. You can see that this is still fresh after 2 years. And will continue like this. If you would have this in a glass for an hour, the wine would be wonderful for the drink. The next one you have there is a blend. And that's their drinking wine in the region. It's 65% Nero di Troia and 35% Montepulciano. Why Montepulciano? If you travel further north in Puglia, the next state over is Molise, and the next state over is Abruzzi. And Abruzzi is very famous for Montepulciano. That's like the best Montepulciano you can get. So if you're this close to the northern border, logically, some grape varieties are like, you know, on both sides of the border. There is no border. But the border of the state. So this is why this particular region has some Montepulciano, while when you go further south, you go into Primitivo territory and you don't find this. The question was here, so you went there to taste Primitivos, and after 3 days, you quit. So what happened? So I'd just like to spend another minute on the end of the story, so to speak. So after I had planned 5 days, I wanted to find like a real great Primitivo, not necessarily what I can always find over here. So after 3 days of tasting Primitivos all day long, I did not find anything that matched anything, or that was any better what I was able to buy here. So logically, for me, it was the end of it. So I called them up, the Chamber of Commerce, they had put the list together for me, and I go like, I'm sorry, but I don't need another 2 days of drinking the same wine that I've already tasted for 3 days. So I was packing up at 10 o'clock at night in my hotel, and the phone rings at 10:30. True story. James, would you like to taste one more wine? I go like, if you have a wine that you think I love, I'm ready. So 11 o'clock at night, they picked me up by car, and we drove. I still don't know where we drove, but we drove around. They couldn't find the others. It was pitch and dark, and they were on the phone constantly, like left turn, right turn, and then we make a wrong turn, and then so past midnight, we arrived at this house, and there was the owner, the wife, the grandma, the aunt, and two children. And so there were 2 bottles of Primitivo on the table in the living room. They had divided up half of the house into a miniature wine cellar. You know those stainless steel tanks? You just cut them in 1/3, and that was the size of the stainless steel tanks in their living room. Very clean. And it wasn't the living room, it was part of the living room. So I tasted the first Primitivo, Arcade, and I said, Eureka, because that was my Primitivo. So that's the end of the story there. So, we are now at the 85% Nero di Troia and 35% Montepulciano. The estate, by the way, is a biodynamic enterprise. Biodynamic. So it's more than just organic. Now I like to just say something about organic, because very often you read reviews where they say, gee, this is a funky wine, but it is organic. I am terribly sorry. This particular winery that makes a funky organic wine made a funky normal wine. And then they stopped buying chemicals, and now they're selling you the funky normal wine as a funky organic wine. One has nothing to do with the other. And an example is already this wine. There's no funkiness about the Rosato, and there will be no funkiness in the next 3 wines. So organic only means absence of fertilizers, herbicides, pesticides, etc. It has nothing to do with a dirty cellar, not knowing what to do, etc. Okay? Or dirty equipments. I just like to point this out. As I mentioned before, the wines made from Nero di Troia are best described as full of wild berry fruit with aromatic floral, spice, and herb tones. The wines are generally very well balanced with tannins that can be aggressive but rarely seem to be extreme. So this is again the perfect wine for food. They are pleasantly aromatic, never overpowering, they're very flavorful, they're perfect matches with lamb, goat, game, and the lighter versions, which is this one, make a fine partner for pasta dishes that are certainly flavored with olive, chopped cheeses, or dried meats. So picture those, and then you enjoy this one even more. Cheers.